Hello there, this is Fi. We're checking out Boom Shocketa. This is a game I've not played before. We're going to give it a playtest. See if we can give some useful feedback. I've got the game page open here. This is blast faster than ever before in Boom Shocketa Rocket Storm. Learn how to pilot the rockets in this game and shave down your times on some test levels as you master a control scheme that's fun to pick up and fiendish to master. Check out the trailer on BitChute and play the demo to give the rockets a spin. I'm looking for people who love racing games, those who are simply never satisfied with their course records and need to beat their ghost again and again and again. Please provide feedback here or in the Discord channel to shape the direction and refinement of this game. The project is currently in alpha state. Has not yet entered its primary content creation phase. The free demo currently supports single-player or local multiplayer racing, ghost racing, and ghost watching. Online racing items, weapons, and many more levels are planned, along with a hangar and online record/ghost sharing. There are many other features planned. Please keep an eye on the project as it's in active development. It's got some links in the page here. If anyone wants to check this out, I'm going to link the game page in the description of this video that you are watching. But let's go ahead and jump into this. That's kind of a funny voice clip. I want to see if I know you couldn't hear the audio up until now. Let me check the volume levels here real quick to see how that works. Looks like I hit in any key. Alright, music might be a little loud, but I'm going to actually... Oh, music's changed here. I'm gonna close the game here real quick and relaunch it so you can get the full effect that I got here. Just take a moment. Currently unzipping. Should be any second now.
Shocketa, Rocket Storm.
There you have it. So yeah, what I'm noticing is it has this title screen and then it has press any key. This is something. Music is a little bit on the loud side. You might want to. Every time I interact with something outside Windows, it kind of stops playing, but I'm going to turn that down a little bit just in case. A little bit loud. So you have this screen and it asks for you to press any key. I would suggest being a little careful about using the whole any key thing because it like literally means any key on the keyboard. So for instance, if I press like the Windows key, if I try to Alt Tab or something, to do something else in Windows, it kind of, the game takes that as an input and then it does stuff in the game, and that's not something you really want. It might even be like if you change, I think I've seen it before where like if you try to change the volume level or something, it takes that as the input, or maybe if you try to use your media keys, I don't know, but just something to be advised about. Usually you don't want literally any key, just like most of the keys or something. Let's go ahead and actually do the game here. Enter a new username for player one. We're gonna go ahead with back keyboard enter. I don't know what the keyboard button does. Oh, so I can kind of click stuff in. I assume if this was perhaps on a mobile device, that would be useful, possibly. Or I don't know, is the gamepad? Gamepad seems to work in the menu here. A little touchy, maybe. Yeah, it's kind of weirdly touchy, but functional. This is an Xbox controller. I think the thumbstick is going to be hard to not get some of these weird diagonal inputs, and perhaps the D-pad is not known for being so accurate on this controller either. It's a 360 controller. I might try the gamepad. I don't know how the gameplay goes yet, so let's go ahead and click enter. Video games have been known to cause seizures. I don't have that potential concern. Welcome to Boom Shocketa. This game was designed for play with a controller, but mouse and keyboard are competitive if the game is not receiving X input. Try restarting your computer. First, the beginner tutorial. Alright. I like tutorials. So I guess I'll try the gamepad as per the suggestion. I gotta move the mouse out of the screen though. Start by leaning Oh, learning idle rotation on each axis. That is pretty loud. I gotta turn my volume down. I'm gonna slap the record. I'm gonna put that down pretty low in the recording here. So I frequently suggest people turn their volume levels down in their games. People tend to make things louder than they need to be. I always suggest, open up some other games you have installed, maybe get an idea of a ballpark for general loudness. But yeah, that's quite loud. Alright, so idle rotation on each axis. Alright, I'm trying the gamepad to enter. I guess I gotta push start. Okay, look at your surroundings. Okay, now I can... Wait. Hold the input to fill up the progress bar at the bottom of the screen. First is yaw, turning left and right. I don't know why the OK is sometimes highlighted and sometimes isn't. But now I can press the A button to proceed here where I couldn't do that before. So that was a lot of words. It was a little confusing, but I guess it wants me to yaw left and right. I feel like I missed a couple things there. Very interesting visual style. You got some outlines. You got some reflectivity. Looks like I'm... Alright, this is actually 6 degrees of freedom, I assume. That's interesting. Would you invert yaw input for the controller? Wait, try it again. It just told me to go... Oh. Left and right. No, I don't want to invert left and right. I don't want to invert this either. This is how I like it. I'm gonna assume... I want to push all the buttons. Wait. It's still... I guess it's just on a timer. I think it'd be good to let the player proceed with the button or something. It did take a while. I don't know. It's like... I felt like the second time I didn't need for it to take so long and I just wanted to keep going or something. Let's go. It's good. We got some credits on the right for the music, I assume. Next is pitch turning up and down. So I'm good with this. And yeah, like I just want to... I already know I like it this way, so... Alright, that's good. So I'm thinking... Oh, alright, the right stick. Interesting. So I never played a 6 Degrees of Freedom game with a gamepad before. It seems intriguing. No, I think that's good. You can justify your rotation relative to the horizon if you get turned around. Hold the justify button long enough to even out rotation, which is... Oh. Interesting. Okay. Do it again. I don't know if that pop-up was necessary in the middle there. Right trigger is throttle. Racing mode. Some sequence of rings. The arrow in the bottom left will point to the next ring. If you miss a ring, you'll need to go back and get it, but you can pass through a ring in any direction. The next ring will always be flashing. Alright, it's a little hard to just take in like a series of instructions that's just in text like this without the context. Note that turning happens exactly the same way when you're throttling. Like, it's hard for me to remember everything. Also, I have quite lousy memory, but apart from that, it's hard to just remember everything from just reading a list of things that I'm supposed to remember and then, like, play. So I'm not getting a lot out of it this way. Note that turning happens exactly the same way when you are throttling. So I definitely prefer anything that you can put in context, like while you're playing and that kind of thing. I think that helps out a lot more rather than just just putting a big block in front of the screen and then some text that you're just supposed to remember. But I guess we're right trigger to throttle. Interesting. We got the stick here to... Okay, this is interesting. Hold or feather B to brake. Okay. We don't want to... Alright, it's definitely... Oh, interesting. So if you turn hard, you seem to lose some speed based on your inertia. It seems to slow you down quite a bit. Like a lot. It's kind of weird. I mean, I guess it just feels different than what I would expect. It's not like... suppose it seems physically accurate because you have to kind of cancel your inertia to change direction sharply, but it definitely slows down more than I feel like I would expect it to. So it's pretty, apart from that fact, which makes it like a lot more forgiving, I guess, to go around turns, it does feel pretty touchy on the stick. I'm trying to do a lot of really small inputs. It doesn't feel like I'm kind of smoothly making turns, you know. As you can probably... Oh, that actually ran it. I did not judge that to be about to run into that. I thought it was trying to go around the edge there. Interesting. So it's a little hard to judge some of these, maybe. I don't know if there's a way to change camera angles. Like a closer camera, or even like a first person would be able to potentially judge things like that a little better. That's of course really common with right bumper. I have to reach up there for that. So I let go of throttle. Is that the idea? Whoa. Okay, I slowed down. Whoa. All right, I kind of glanced at the speedometer for a bit because it seemed like I slowed down really fast. Just for a brief moment. Again, I didn't really feel like I was going to run into that, so it's a little weird how this works. So I feel like the direction that my craft is actually flying and kind of the camera orientation are maybe not lined up the way I expect. So like obviously this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Is there like a reset button? I guess I can just screw around for a bit anyways, but I think it's kind of flying upward, sort of an upward angle a little bit more than I expected to. I'm not sure. It definitely feels a little bit off to me sometimes. Obviously, if I just kind of aim for the center of the rings, it's not going to be a big problem, right? I mean, unless there's some like really crazy turns in the future, whatever. But you know, that's not like the quickest route. The quickest route is going to be to kind of graze the edges of the rings, right? Assuming the rings are kind of a permanent feature here. So in that regard, I think it's going to be kind of important that people can actually make that kind of judgment, you know? I like how the rings highlight in a fashion that makes it kind of impossible to get confused about which one you're supposed to go into next. That's quite nice. Use your boost sparingly until you learn to master it. You can strafe to lift off the ground or for slight adjustments while approaching your rings. Left with your main pitch yaw input, which is... Oh, is that the bumper? Oh, that's the okay. Yeah, alright, so... What does the left trigger do? If that's normal. I don't know how often this is used. I'll just mention real quick. I much prefer... Wow, I didn't expect to go towards the ground like that. I don't know how I managed to do that. I guess that was... Oh, no, I wanted to fiddle with it more. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay. I was just going to mention that when it comes to buttons that you have to like hold down, especially if it's frequently, I tend to prefer the triggers as opposed to the bumpers. When I hold the controller in a neutral fashion, my index fingers rest on the triggers and I have to kind of reach up for the bumpers. Apparently some people do that differently, where they kind of have their index finger on the bumpers and their middle finger on the triggers simultaneously, but that's not how I hold the controller. It feels very strange to me, so I'll just mention that. But we can probably assume there might be like rebindable controls in the future. I don't know if they're in the game yet, but looks like hold X to reverse. I didn't really get a chance to like master this. Oh, the strafing thing. Apparently you can go up and down too. So that's... Wow. Wait. That's really interesting. Okay. I almost wonder, I might like to try being able to pitch up and down with the right stick. and then do your yaw with the left stick. I think that would be worth testing out. That would be something that would be interesting to me. I don't know that there's any options for that kind of thing, but I kind of feel like I might want to do that, you know. And then maybe... I don't know, it is a racing game. I think there's like a lot of potential ways to map the controls to the gamepad, and it's hard to imagine that one is necessarily the best one for everyone, you know? So maybe having just like a pile of options to map those things. Obviously, like remappable buttons is kind of standard in any game, but also like the thumbstick axes and stuff, I would make all of those rebindable, like the left and right, up and down for both sticks. I would make that all customizable. I think that would be interesting. I'd really like to experiment with different things like that, but I guess as for right now, I know the game wants me to reverse, but I feel like experimenting with this a little more, it's a little weird to wrap my head around the way the strafing works, I guess, with the current input. For instance, as of right now, like I have it so that the pitch is kind of inverted, so when I press the stick down it goes up, when I press the stick up it goes down, but once I hit the strafe button, when I press the stick up I go up. So it's kind of like it's not inverted anymore in a certain sense. It's not the same thing, but it can be a little confusing, I think. So I think there's a lot of potential for the inputs just kind of not quite being intuitive for any given person. I guess that's just the nature of the thing. X to reverse. I don't know what that line is at the bottom. Maybe it's for the tutorial. I guess it's for like the tutorial progress. Oh, so we do have cameras. Okay, well, there you go. Yeah, I wonder if it looks like there's only 2 cameras currently. It might be nice to have more than 2, like a far one and a near one and a first person, that kind of thing. Looks like we have ship lights. Wait, where's the ship? Mine first person. Ah. And yeah, I'm not sure, but maybe just the camera should be like a little bit more behind the ship. You can definitely see it's like angled downward just a smidge. The ship is kind of angled upwards relative to the camera, so I think that's potentially causing some of that weirdness that I was noticing before. And I know it's not gonna, like, maybe the ship doesn't look as good or whatever. For a racing game that's on the ground, it makes a ton of sense to have this kind of view, but for 6 Degrees of Freedom, I think there's a potential for some of these issues where you're just running into stuff where you didn't think you were going to, because of these subtle differences in the orientation of the craft itself and the camera. But it looks like we got lights. I pressed the button. Oh. Okay, so... okay. I don't know what that's for. Is it just purely cosmetic? Alright, feel free to play here or choose a level from the pause menu. You can change your chariot in the pause menu and the main menu. Alright, so I get to play around. That's good. So yeah, this is cool. I like the feeling of just kind of flying around in a level like this. Yeah, you lose a ton of speed when you turn. Actually, it doesn't feel that physically accurate, but I'm not saying it should be necessarily. I mean, I think you should do what serves the game, not suggest reality, but it's just interesting the way that works. Yeah, it just seems to be programmed that, like, once you start turning, even if you're not throttling or anything, you just lose a ton of speed, which is interesting. I think, just based on my early impressions here, I would tone that down a bit, just for like a game feel kind of thing. It doesn't quite feel right to me to kind of lose so much speed once you start turning like that. It does make the turns more forgiving, but it's less fun, I think. And also, for a racing game in particular, like any game that has a sense of inertia, like a strong sense of inertia, tends to feel exciting in the way that you feel like once you're picking up speed, that you're kind of controlling something that's how to describe it. I don't know. It sort of starts to feel kind of reckless almost, like you're driving a car too fast or something. Because it's like, it's kind of challenging to keep under control. Like the faster you go, you know. And games that are kind of inertia heavy are like that too, because you can't just like suddenly change direction, that kind of thing. So it adds a lot of excitement to the feeling of going fast. Whereas a game with like no inertia, you don't really get that feeling, which can be good in some cases in some kinds of games. But for a racing game in particular, I think you probably want to have a little bit more of that, where you feel like you keep more of your inertia. Because it just doesn't feel very exciting when you start turning and it's just like all your speed is kind of gone. It'll feel a lot more exciting to be able to maintain that. Alright, so other buttons, we got this kind of funny strafing thing, which again is confusing to me. Does it just... Oh. It actually slows you down a lot too. Interesting. It's almost like a brake. Like, you can still move forward, or kind of. Huh. Wonder why that slows you down as much as it does. I don't really understand that. We got boost. I don't know if this has a resource. It doesn't appear to, but I lose tons of speed when I turn. That's interesting. I can boost and strafe at the same time. It seems like they might be fighting each other a bit. I don't know. I wonder... It would probably be nice if there's some kind of particle effects or something to kind of indicate your speed, you know, just kind of flying by you. Obviously this is a space setting, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for there to be like stuff floating around up here. There's not going to be much atmosphere on... This looks like the moon, yeah. There's not going to be much atmosphere and stuff, so it doesn't necessarily make sense to see stuff flying past you, but something could be nice. I don't know what would work well for that. But yeah, it looks like you can just hold the boost as much as you want, but obviously it's going to be a little hard to control. Although, like I said before, you do lose a lot of speed when you're turning, so I wonder maybe you could even just hold it permanently. I don't know. Maybe in the real versions there's actually a resource associated with it, I'm not sure. So what were the other buttons? We got reverse. Seems like I can't imagine that being very useful, but it's a racing game, so that's how that tends to go. I don't remember if there are functions for these other buttons. Left trigger I don't think was used for anything. Maybe it was. It's doing something. What is it doing? Is that for braking? Up to speed, and then doesn't seem to brake, but it looks different when I'm turning though. Like it kind of orients the camera behind the craft. I don't remember if maybe that was explained at some point, or I don't know. I guess that seems useful. Does it affect my speed? I can't tell. I seem to be slowing down more when I hold the left trigger. I don't understand how that works. Like I can accelerate if I don't turn. Once I start turning, it's a little weird. Whereas if I don't hold the trigger, it doesn't do that as much. It definitely seems to change the way the turning works. I don't know what's going on, to be honest. So, not sure if that was something I just missed or whatever, but I think we're going to... We got select chariot here, that's interesting. Jewel bean. Fishbowl is locked mystery. Viper wings. Mega mystery whale. So I'm gonna guess... Oh, we got jewel and jewel bean. This is where it started out, so maybe this is what I have currently. New chariot enacted at the start of the next race. So obviously this is alpha. It would be nice to be able to like actually see a picture of the thing I'm selecting, that kind of thing. But I guess we're gonna go do, let's look at the stats here real quick. We got thrust, boost, multiplier, handling, brakes, mass, and size. So I'm gonna guess mass, if you have more of it, you're gonna keep more of your inertia while you're turning. Sounds good. This one has way more mass, way more size though, holy moly. Interesting. Let's see if I can try this. I'm gonna do restart. Alright. Oh, it's gonna go through the tutorial again. I just wanted to fly around. That's too bad. Is there a way to race and watch Ghost? That's too bad. Alright, that's unfortunate. It would be really nice to have a way to just mess around in this training mode without having to deal with actual things that I'm supposed to be doing, apparently. Alright, this is a big boy. Seems ultra fast though, holy moly. Seems OP. I guess he has more inertia. It's hard to tell how much of a difference it's really making. It does move faster in general. Feels cool to move around in general though, I appreciate that. I guess, yeah, if you want to go up and down you have to use the strafe thing. It's a little awkward to me. I would definitely, I can imagine a lot of different ways to do the controls. So I think if you make like super customizable control input, that would be really good, because then I could just set everything up the way I want it. So that's to justify, I forget about that, and then that's the camera. Oh, we see little pointy bits. Alright, so normally I just kind of turn neutrally. I'm kind of clipping through here a little bit, which isn't really a problem, but definitely looks weird. But if I like hold the left trigger, I can kind of do this, I guess. We're gonna do this more though. Get through the tutorial. Alright. Sequences of rings, arrow. What's the next? If you miss a ring, you'll need to go back, but you can pass through a ring in any direction. Interesting. Next ring will always be flashing. Turning happens exactly the same way when you're throttling. I don't really understand what that means. Oh gosh, it's a really weird feeling. For a moment it feels like I was gonna like overshoot it, and then like that deceleration hits pretty hard, and then it's like, oh, did the opposite. Oof. Oh my gosh, this is so much slower to hold the left trigger. Alright, boost time. Okay, that didn't work. The flashing one. Boost is still not easy to control. It seems like... No, I guess... Well, I don't know how much it has to do with the craft you're using. I'm wondering how possible it is to... how possible it might be to just like hold the boost permanently and just like crank on the control stick really hard. It looks like it's not quite possible with this craft, but this is also a really like massive one. I'm not sure how true that is otherwise. Oh my gosh, I didn't think that was gonna hit. Whoa! I guess I bumped. Yeah, I'm trying to push the boost. It's not going that well. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it mentioned braking. What is it, B? I mentioned braking before, but the way that you lose so much speed just doing just random things like turning and stuff, it seems like the braking is really unnecessary. And I just feel like I would prefer being able to like actually have a reason to use the brakes, you know? Like, I think that would add something to the whole racing experience to have a need for that. Whereas currently just turning kind of seems like your brakes. It is quite touchy. So yeah, so okay, and this occurs to me. The control, the thumbstick, I guess sensitivity we'll call it, for turning is quite high, but like when you turn a lot, you start to slow down. So it kind of gives this weird effect where it's like, I don't know why that didn't go through. It gives this weird effect where it's like if you just push the thumbstick a tiny bit, it kind of turns really fast, but if you push it a lot, it slows you down more. So it's like almost like it's not turning less, but it's giving like a less of a dramatic effect in a certain sense, because the slowing down is making it easier on you. I don't know how to explain that in a way that makes more sense, but it's almost like it feels a little backwards, because you would sort of expect that if you push the stick a little bit, then it turns just a little bit, but if you push it a lot, then you're going to turn really crazy. Whereas it's in a certain way kind of the opposite, where if you push it a little, you turn kind of crazy, but if you push it a lot, you just slow down a ton, and then you don't really turn crazy at all. So yeah, it definitely feels weird. Use your boost sparingly. You can strafe to lift off the ground, or for slight adjustments while approaching rings. Alright, it's definitely something you could get used to. Just have to kind of make a quick mental switch before you press the button there. Reverse if you're stuck behind something. Oh. Yeah, and I think I'd prefer to be able to keep my finger on the throttle and press like a different button, like a face button, like the B button or something for boosting, rather than switching. Because I do have to take my finger, just ever so briefly, take my finger off the throttle, and then before I hit the button there. It feels a little funny to have to do that like really fast to try to maximize the speed, because if you like take your time, technically you're losing like a tiny bit of speed by releasing the throttle and then moving your hand. So I don't know, it's just a little thing, but it feels comfier to me. I think if I could just like hold the B button or something, the face button to boost. Alright, hold X to reverse. Can we boost and reverse? Doesn't look like boost and reverse work together. That's our camera toggle. Alright, might be fun if you could boost and reverse, even if that doesn't make sense. It'd probably feel cool, I think. Especially because, like, if there's a reason why you have to use the reverse, you probably want to do it kind of frantically, because that's not a good place to be in. So you probably like, it'd probably feel nice, I think, just to be able to like do a super reverse by smashing the boost button. You can get back into it a little bit faster. Yeah, I guess that's it. I think I should actually try to. Well, I want to change levels, but I should use a different thing. I think maybe the mystery. I think this is what I start with. Handling is really high. I wonder how that affects things. Jewel Bean is even higher though. I guess it's just the rate at which you turn. Brakes, handling, boost, multiplier, thrust. This doesn't have a lot of thrust, but it has a lot of handling. Low mass. Mass seems like a good thing to me, but I don't know. Let's go ahead and try this, and then we'll change to a race. Watch Ghost. I guess we just do play. Oh, we got different levels here. Grand Canyon, Plebeian, Challenge. I don't know what that means. Let's go ahead and hit play. We'll do no ghost because I don't have a ghost and I don't know that there's any ghosts to actually access here. So let's hit the boost to start. Whoa. Okay. Oh, that is not break. Okay. I gotta like remember what the actual buttons are and not what my brain wants the buttons to be. This looks quite different, this craft. It's interesting. I like the actual boost effects. I don't think the other ones actually had. Whoa, boost effects here. Yeah, I'm really quite confused about the whole inertia thing. Like, it's hard to wrap my head around the way that works. It's very strange. It's nice looking materials in the ground here. Very interesting. Oof. Down. Alright, trying to use the strafe a little bit. Alright. I like the sky. Well, alright. Can I... Wait, oh, that's the reverse. I didn't even make... Okay, this is terrible. Wait, I forget what the buttons do. Okay, that's the brake button. So... There's one thing that occurs to me. The fact that you are flying through rings means that if you ever happen to miss a ring, I think you're just gonna have like a really hefty time penalty because you have to actually like stop and turn around and go all the way back and go through the ring and then turn around again and then like try and get back on course. Racing games that are just on the ground, they're on a road or something, they don't tend to have that problem. I mean, they're, you know, I guess if it's like Mario Kart, you might drive off the edge and then you have to wait for the latitude to bring you back and you can lose a lot of time that way. But it's generally very manageable, like how much time is lost by a mistake. Other games you might, you know, just bump into a wall or something. Maybe you take a turn too wide, you know. It's like you're always going to lose time for making the mistakes, but it's not going to be like an enormous chunk of it. Whereas in this game, I fear it might be the situation where, like, if you ever miss a ring, you're just going to be kind of screwed. Obviously, it's going to be true for if you're going for, like, if you're trying to beat your own time or something, you kind of have to be perfect in making it through the rings. But just in general, I think it's more punishing than the typical racing game that isn't flying through rings to have this kind of thing, just by the nature of it. Which I think is kind of unfortunate. I don't really like the idea of just being punished so hard. It feels terrible to actually miss a ring. Just by nature of the fact that you're trying to be as fast as possible and you just lose so much all of a sudden in that one moment. So I wonder if there might be ways that you could actually minimize that. For example, oh, I don't know. I mean, that would be a whole thing to think about, I guess. There might be a way to, like, maybe you could just slap a button to reset yourself in front of the ring and you just start with 0 speed or something. Maybe that would be kind of like the latitude reset in Mario Kart. But it would at least give you an opportunity to not waste as much time. That could be a thing. Another thing I thought of is maybe that it could be possible that you could just, like, skip the ring and just go through the next one. And then it would just, like, maybe it would just penalize you with some amount of time or something. I don't know. That might be a little wonky, potentially. I don't know if that would be exploitable. Like, maybe there'd be some weird shortcuts where people just intentionally skip a ring and it ends up saving time. I'm not sure, but that might be something that could work. So the player doesn't have to, like, literally stop and turn around and then go through the ring and then turn around again. And this whole process. Maybe, I don't know. But that would be something to consider, I think. That sort of deal might be helpful for just the general feel of the game here. So I'm noticing, okay, so maybe the reason, okay, I remember noticing there's a lot of sort of misinputs possible with the thumbstick in the menus here, and I just realized it doesn't seem to actually be any dead zone, or it's very small on the stick, which makes this very prone to misinputs. So I would definitely go in and set that dead zone. I tend to like 0.4 as a dead zone setting. I think that's a good setting, so I'd recommend that. I'm wondering now if... Wait. Let's just go to a different level. I'm wondering if the dead zone is actually a problem in the game itself too. That might contribute to how touchy it feels. Race, Grand Canyon. Let's try Snowy Mountains. So I assume this is purely the visuals, because the rings are just kind of... Well, I guess there's certain objects that are in the world that can affect the gameplay here. I'm trying to... Oh, I'm dropping some frames here, that's okay. I'm trying to tell if there's dead zone on the race input here. I think there is. It feels small though. Like, I get the feeling it's not as slight as it was in the menu, maybe, but it's pretty small. It could definitely be worth increasing the size of that dead zone a little bit. I also wonder, I don't think we have any graphics options, do we? I think I'd like to try without VSync just for the sake of reducing the input lag. It'd probably be nice to have some graphics options that can do that kind of thing, and that would actually make... I'm sure that would make controlling this easier than it is to have less input lag. So it does feel a little bit laggy on the stick here. But yeah, maybe bumping up the dead zone a little bit could help also. I think it's this one next. Is this actually flashing? Oh, that one. Wait, that one? What? I went through here. I'm going there. Okay, I guess that stuff starts to blend in with the skybox a bit, maybe. This one's pretty close, and this is also glowing. So this is a case where I feel like maybe the highlighting is starting to break down a little bit. Because... like, yeah, somebody might realize. I mean, it's not like you can't see the flashing one there. Also, I should mention my monitor isn't that great, so when it comes to like really bright things, it doesn't have as good contrast in like near white colors and stuff. So that might look different for other people. But I think it's possible to kind of go through this, and then you're like, which one do I go through next? And kind of assume this one. It looks like it's kind of glowing, which I think has to do with it being one of the next ones or something. Wait, why does that glow as much as it does? I don't know, but there's some potential for confusion here. I assume this is next. I still don't know why that one glows as much as it does. Maybe there's a little bit of a bug or something for all I know. Something a little confusing there though. Did I actually go through that? Okay. One thing I think would be nice is to have audio feedback for when you go through a ring. I'm sure that would add quite a bit. So I don't think there's any actual feedback for doing it correctly. Obviously I haven't really been... Oh my gosh, that was awkward. I should have used the strafing thing. Obviously I'm not really playing for time here. This is interesting. Okay, so I like how you actually do utilize these structures, and it's not just purely the rings. Wait, what the heck? Oh, that's this one. So again, some of these rings are like brighter than others. It's confusing to me. This one maybe? Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. I guess I can use this button. Oh gosh, I thought I was going right through that. Oh man. Wow. Oh, those are very narrow. My gosh. Very, very narrow. Brakes are very strong. It's like I said before, just turning normally is kind of your brakes, but the actual brakes almost instantaneously stop you. So yeah, the inertia is very strange to me. Sometimes it sort of feels like I'm one of those, what they call them, like flying squirrel suits. Skydiving, not diving, but jumping, I guess. Cliff jumping or something. But yeah, so I keep talking about the inertia, but it definitely feels like you don't change direction very quickly, but you slow down a lot when you turn. It's really kind of a strange combination. I would prefer to keep most of my speed, but also like change direction well. So I mean, obviously if you have like a really massive craft, then you wouldn't want to you would want to kind of continue in your direction more when you're turning than you would a less massive craft, that kind of thing. But it definitely feels like a really weird combination of like both not changing direction rapidly and also losing a lot of speed rapidly. It's really not intuitive. I think I don't really know how to do this quickly. I feel like the nature of the movement is such that it doesn't inspire me to want to do this as fast as I can, actually. That was kind of weird. I think I blew up and then it just didn't really show it. It just kind of instantly reset. Yeah, that was obviously a terrible time, but I got some experimenting in place. I'm going to try one more level, I think. Maybe try a little harder. Go ahead and race Grand Canyon Snow. I guess there's easy, daunting. It says casual. Oh, this only has casual. Interesting. So I'm assuming maybe casual is easier than easy. I don't know what challenge does. Maybe. Well, no. I guess I'll play on ghost. Well, I don't have a ghost. Oh, this is weird. Oh my gosh, it's so weird. Wait, what happened? Did I run into something? It's like the screen just went black. What the heck? The screen keeps going to black. I don't like that. I feel like maybe I can kind of feather the boost a bit to do some corrective maneuvers. I don't know what happened here. Potentially. Oh, it's really hard to control though if you don't use it just right. So I guess I gotta go back here. It does feel kind of cool if you have to turn around and the way that the brakes just kind of lock you in place, but you can still turn. It does feel pretty cool. Yeah, they really stop you. I guess I didn't make that either. Oh, this is so awkward. So yeah, this seems to be, as far as I can tell, like if you run into something, kind of bounce off it, but there's some kind of like a fade to black effect going on here. Like that's just blowing up, but then I guess when you hit the rings or something. Yeah, there's like a really weird fade to black effect. It's like extremely disorienting. Like I can't tell what's happening when that happens. I don't know, this is meant to avoid some weird like visual clipping or something, but trying to hide it behind this fading transition. I'm not really sure. Nope, that was not the right buttons. Okay. I forgot how to do... Oh, that's not that button, it's this button. Whoa, okay, that's the strafing. Oh my gosh, okay. I gotta reprogram my brain how to use that. So it's very weird trying to like actually use the brakes. Just there's obviously times when I want to slow down, but it's just the fact that you just almost instantly stop. It doesn't feel very optimal. Oh, that is just right there. Okay, I'm trying to use the boost a lot. Obviously, it's not working very well. I don't know why. Alright, yeah, so that wasn't good. That was supposed to be the casual difficulty, I guess. I should probably wrap this up, but I don't think I'm going to get much more out of it for feedback and stuff. But yeah, I definitely feel like I would enjoy this kind of game. I've never played like a 6 Degrees of Freedom racing game before. And I also don't believe I've ever played a 6DOF game with a gamepad before, which is really interesting to me. How that feels, and I think it has a lot of potential to feel pretty cool with a gamepad, so that's really interesting to me. I think the current controls are maybe not ideal for me in terms of the button layout. I would probably prefer to tweak some things, but also I'm just finding the general like movement and inertia to be kind of bonkers feeling. And very counterintuitive in general, so I think that with some significant tweaks to that, I would personally enjoy the game a lot more. I definitely want to have inertia that kind of makes at least some intuitive sense, and be able to kind of use the brakes in a way that is more in line with how brakes might work in other games, instead of it just kind of halting you instantly. That, you know, you could actually use them to slow down a bit instead of like trying to rely on your turning to slow you down. It makes this really weird situation where I'm like trying to like overturn in order to slow myself down, and it's really awkward to play that way. So yeah, just in general, I find it quite unusual, but I think those are all things that could be pretty easily tweaked, and I think there's a lot of potential for a pretty fun game here. I'm not sure if it's intended to have like other crafts racing at the same time in the future or anything. You know, who knows? It's an early alpha or whatever. So be very interested to see what other features and stuff end up in here. Visuals are pretty cool. So yeah, hopefully this is useful for you. I'm interested to see where it goes from here. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.